Namaste and welcome, everyone. It is me, Nina Sachs, and I am excited that I get to speak to Glenda van den Oever from Simply Yoga you're out in Durbanville area. Hey, Glenda.
Correct.
Welcome,
In the northern suburbs.
Melbourne
Thank
suburbs.
you.
Yeah. So I thought, we've known each other for a while. You were doing a couple of workshops here and there with the Academy of Yoga and Ayurveda, which is one of our 200-hour teacher trainings that we've got. And we actually got in contact this year again because you've sent one of your students or past students to come and join the training this year. And I just thought, well, let's have a chat with you and figure out like what your yoga journey has been all about. What got you into yoga? And what made you decide to open up a studio out in the northern suburbs? So welcome. And yeah, I can't wait to hear what your story is all about.
Oh, thank you, Nina. That's such a blessing for this opportunity. And it's a strange one, actually, because I didn't go looking for yoga. I kind of happened into it, which has been very interesting for me to observe. And my journey started at the ashram in Rondebosch East. I used to visit there. And when I started a family, I used to take them there to Mother Yogeshwari's classes, and it was delightful. And so I was always inspired. So I would say it goes back about 30 years ago now. And so I journeyed through that, and then I met up with another practitioner called Groshan, and he did Ashtanga and Iyengar yoga. And with him also through the ashram, I met Ivan, who's sadly no longer with us. Ivan was a big influence in my journey as well. And so I always practiced been living in the southern suburbs, and then in 2013 I moved to the northern suburbs, and I found a studio here, the Durbanville Yoga Center, and so I practiced there for a while and regularly.
And that's with Sandra, hey?
That's for Sandra Smith, yes.
Sandra Smith, yes, yeah. Okay,
She runs training. She runs training annually as well, and she said to me, "Come, I'd like you to join our teacher training." I said, "No, don't. No, I'm not interested." So I think by the third year, she asked me again, and she said, "I really think you will benefit from attending." Okay, Sandra, but I'm not teaching, right? She says, "You don't have to teach." So that was a wonderful about 8 months of training. She's an unbelievable teacher. I mean, she's phenomenal, and she still teaches to this day. In fact, I think she's just completed her training for this year. And so I said, "But I'll do the yoga training, but I really don't want to teach." And as I progressed through the training, I thought, why am I doing this, and why am I not going to use it? Because I love it. I mean, I can really literally believe I eat, sleep, and yoga. And in fact, my examiner, this is a very small world, Nina, was Jennifer Stevens.
I love Jennifer, yeah, because she happens to be like she is our asana queen on our course. She teaches the asana section in our 200 hours. So she was one of your examiners. I know that Pramila and Jennifer, they're both often examiners on Sandra's course.
Yes. So she did both. She did both of my practical exams, and so I thought, if I can get through this, then I can definitely, pursue the career or living the life of yoga, which I have for forever and a day. I cannot imagine living any other way. And I mean, I can truly say that it has been my lifeline. It's my balance, my stabilizing factor in life. And a day without it, I really do struggle. So I'm on the mat every day.
And what does if you don't mind me asking, what does your daily practice look like? Because everyone's practice is a little different. And I'm sure it must have also shifted and changed over the different stages and phases in your life with, kids, family life and things that are happening. So like maybe what does your practice look like at the moment? And what did it look like in the past?
It's in the past, before children or while they were still very young, I had a lot more, I did more the Iyengar and Ashtanga practices, a lot more driven. Now my practice, I have also noticed as I've aged, my practice is changing with me. So I prefer the gentler yoga and the calmer yoga which comes with Hatha Yoga. It's my forte. I've also since then done some Yin training. So I offer Yin classes and I've really enjoyed those too. So I have a balance of both. And depending on any time of day or what day it is, I very much go with what my body's craving at a particular time. So whether it's a slow yin start, and then maybe I'll do a little flow with it afterwards to warm up, and then I'll slow down again. I don't necessarily feel like I need to do vinyasa. I don't, my body doesn't like vinyasa. It prefers the quieter, more sustainable yoga. I like to be able to, and I work a lot on my mobility because I find if I'm not mobile, you get a bit achy and cranky, and so I work very much with mobility. Before, I mean, without mobility you couldn't be flexible, and without flexibility you need to be mobile. So yeah, my practice is a little bit in the morning for myself, especially if I'm going to teach a class. I'm on my mat at least 15 minutes ahead of the class, just to work through some of the stuff to see how it feels in my body. It's all very well sit down and you can plot a sequence out, but unless you've actually experienced in your body, it's a case of you can't teach what you don't know.
Yes. And I think that's what I love with you. What you're sharing is like, it's very experimental? Like it's coming from you. So you're saying, like in the past, before when you had children growing up, there was like a lot of vinyasa, or there was a lot of Iyengar yoga where it was very precise or very dynamic in going. And, as you've progressed through different life stages and phases, you're finding that now you're enjoying the quieter, more gentler aspect, that often the Hatha Yoga does bring forth. And I think that's a really important thing to notice about oneself, is like where one is in one lifestyle, what one is personally craving, and not just because society dictates that this is what you should be doing then, and that's what you should be doing then, or, that if you've become an Ashtanga yogi, you always have to be an Ashtanga yogi, that you can actually shift and morph and listen to how you're feeling and adapt your practice that way, because that's what yoga is, because it's all about growth and evolving and listening to what we're needing from within. So I love how you really have done that. And the same as like what you're saying, you get on your mat before a class, you'll test out a sequence or movement, and like, if it's not feeling, you're just not feeling like maybe you wanting to open, or that much today, maybe it's a little cooler, or maybe there's just too much puzzlement and you want more containment, how to adapt a sequence a little to do that. So I love hearing that.
Oh, correct. Thanks, Nina. No, it is definitely something to be experienced, and I feel like you need to live it too. It needs to inhabit you. You need to actually be authentic. I just, as I said earlier, I can't imagine not having yoga in my life. It's part of my life. It's very much on my mat and off my mat.
I mean, and like you're saying, that's like, 30 years that you've been practicing, and kind of like my story as well, starting with a little studio in Musenberg with Yoka, who's also no longer with us, unfortunately. But, from there, being suggested, go to Ananda Kutir and, learning from teachers there. That's where I also met Jennifer, and, doing the teacher training course there. It's such a beautiful, special place and energy. And, I think it gives one a lovely kind of like awakening or stepping into yoga, which is easeful. It is not confrontational at all. It is very inclusive, is very inviting. And that is what I love about Ananda Kutir.
Very much. You show up as
ages.
Very much. You show up as you are, in any given moment. You don't have to be a particular person or a personality type. You don't have to dress a certain way. You just come as you are. You really show up for yourself. And I think it's wonderful to learn that authenticity from the roots, the living practice, the living tradition that they offer. They live it. It's really beautiful.
Yeah. And I must say, I think that is one thing that I've picked up, because I do go to studios here and there and different teachers, because I love testing and seeing,
Mm.
what everyone was doing out there. And you do notice a difference when someone has been taught or spent a lot of time at a place where there's a deep lineage or a deep connection to something. There's like a teaching that they bring forth that
Mhm.
I find you don't just get with like a quick course that you do here or there. And the same is with Sandra as well. I know that, she also had connections with Ananda Kutia for, a long time. And, she also has, those deep roots that has been formed. And there is something really special about that. And it can be in any style of yoga. I mean, like, in the Ashtanga realm, the Iyengar realm, Kundalini realm. But you notice, even with the different styles, if who someone has trained with, and that comes through. And I loved your story about, like, getting into a teacher training, not for wanting to teach yoga at all, but literally just for personal development, wanting to learn more and explore more. And for some reason, like with you, and it did for me, yoga just like got it kind of like little hooks in you, and it started saying, okay, you need to be teaching, and go out there and make it happen. And I know you are as well, but I'm super grateful for the practice of yoga to have
Absolutely.
done.
No, for sure. It's a beautiful daily practice to have. Really is. I mean, you don't actually have to have a mat. In fact, I find having no mat at all and just having that kind of freestyle, that free moment, just to try mini moments. It could be 5 minutes, it could be 10 minutes, but the benefits for me have just like they've spilled over. And I think maybe very much like you and Jens, why you teach, because you just want to share this amazing beneficial practice with people. And I think being a natural carer like yourself, it comes naturally. It's not effort.
Yes.
What I have noticed is that I need to take time for myself. I used to teach sometimes twice a day. I've now realized that teaching once a day is more than enough for me.
Yeah.
Also, having my own personal practice, going to a practice given by another teacher that you respect, like Sandra, for instance. And there are a number of lovely studios in this area. In fact, I spent this morning with a half-day, a pre-International Yoga Day celebration at a studio in Plattekloof, where they had 3 different teachers. And it was 45-minute tasters of their styles. And it was fabulous. I went and I felt like I'm having the treat of my life.
I know. And how different is this to like 20 years ago when we were out there and there were like 2 or 3 yoga studios, if you were lucky that you could get it. And now they're like, but it is lovely that there are so many options, choices to choose from. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut us off here. And then I'm going to ask if we can have another little chat in a moment and just kind of like delve a little bit deeper into all the other things that you're involved in. Are you good with that?
Fabulous, for sure. I'm all yours. Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste, sweetheart.